Hi all, Ron here with Innovative Digital Group. In today's video, I'm going to show you the pieces and parts that you need in order to configure and order a Zebra MC9300, or if you're looking for a refurbished one, what to look for in terms of the MC92, MC9090, and so on. So this type of barcode scanner is primarily used in manufacturing, warehousing, even in retail. It's a device that's been on the market for quite a long time. The form factor hasn't changed so much, but the operating system has over the years. You know, we've seen this device go through Windows Mobile, Windows CE, Windows 4.5, CE 7.0, and now it's only being offered in Android. So when you order this device new, the only operating system or software that you can select on the MC9300 is Android. So it just really depends on what kind of flavor, lollipop, marshmallow that you order and what you get from the manufacturer. But you could always upgrade the device to your firmware level on Zebra's website. So let's get into ordering and speccing out this device. So there's a couple of options. The main thing here that I look at is the scan engine. So the scan engine is probably the most important thing when ordering this, because if you order the wrong type of scan engine, a lot of your warehouse users in manufacturing or in warehousing, if they're on a forklift and they're picking up high on the ceiling, and if your scan engine is not adequate or it doesn't reach the length of that barcode placed on that rack, your driver or your user is going to have to get out. So what I do recommend is making sure that you test this unit, get a demo, get it into your warehouse, get into your hands of your pickers, and let them run with it for half a day or a day. So just so they could test out the scan engine, the feel, the weight, and the responsiveness. In terms of wireless, this can be configured to any wireless network, just as long as you have something that's somewhat recent that is supported, because the main thing you want to look at is making sure you have the proper firmware levels. Now, a lot of the manufacturers out there are going to upgrade the firmware level on the access point, and then you'll also upgrade the firmware on the device just so it matches with the recent firmware that is out there, because a lot of developers like to develop on new protocols, security, and so on. So you want to make sure that you have something that is at least supported. Well, don't look for access points or devices that are out of support. You always want to make sure that both your access point and this device at least has some kind of maintenance that you can update the firmware. So we talked about barcode scanner. There's a lot of options for barcode scanning. You really want to figure out in your warehouse or from your supplier what kind of barcode labels you're going to be getting. Is it linear? Is it just a 1D typical barcode? Is it 2D barcode? Is it a QR code, etc.? So that'll make your ordering process, it'll kind of narrow down your ordering process, because then you can figure out exactly what you need. So usually there's like a 1D, which is scanning just a regular line linear barcode, or you could get a 2D imager. So depending if there's an image as a barcode, then you could actually snapshot that. And usually you see that with QR codes. So if you do have QR codes, then you probably want to get an imager scanner. Then there's also aggressive scanners, like there's near far, short range, long range, Lorex. Lorex was built, I think, for the MC9090 devices, but now they call it near far scanners. And basically that's the most aggressive scanner. You're going to be able to scan close, far, or near. Usually your sweet spot is probably, I think, around less than a foot, but then you could also scan further back. So there's some of the options that you're looking for the MC9300. The next part is the keyboard overlay. First off, you're gonna have to figure out what kind of emulation you're running. Some clients run AS400, so when you're running an AS400, typically you're gonna order a 5250 keyboard overlay. If you're running a VT-ANSI, then you'd spec out for a VT-ANSI, which is a Unix session. If you're doing something like a web-based warehouse management system, then you just get the standard keyboard overlay, and you have options. This is a full keypad overlay, so it has 5253 keys, and on some of these devices you might only see, I think, like a 24 key, and that's pretty limited if your users don't need to press a lot of functions. But I always recommend just getting a full 53 key, just because it's a lot easier to configure, a lot easier to get to the parameters, so you don't have to type in blue F3 to get to a certain key. So that is the keyboard overlay. The next is display and storage I'm going to talk about. Usually, color, monochrome, most of these devices come in a bright LCD display, so you want to look at that spec. The next one is storage and memory. You don't really need a lot of storage, not unless you're storing a lot of files here, but typically most warehouse management systems, all of the data is just going back, it's coming to your device, then going back to your warehouse management system or your application server, and it's residing there. So the next thing you want to look at is compatibility. So that's when we talk about software. Are you running Staylink? Are you running Avante? Are you running a third-party application? You're going to have to figure out, is it compatible with Android? If you're buying used, is it compatible with Windows CE? Or is it compatible with Windows Embedded? Right? But like I mentioned, Microsoft stopped supporting these devices, and you want to go to Android now. So that's the first thing, is you want to make sure that, does your application support Android? Next off is battery life. So that's one thing to consider when you're looking to purchase a unit, is how long will this battery last? So that's one thing I look at, is how long the battery is going to last, and then what charging options do you have? Do you have cradles? Do you have single slot cradles? Do you have quad cradles, etc.? So you want to make sure those options are available for you, because if you have 50 guns, you don't want to have 50 single slot cradles. You want to make sure that you might have a 6-bank cradle or 4-bank, and you only need 10 of those, right? So typically the way you charge these is I would recommend two batteries per device, one just sitting in the cradle as charging, and when your operator runs out of the battery, they change it right away, so you always have a fresh battery. And I'm going to talk about the last piece that you're going to have to look at is, depending on your use case, do you need cellular on this? There's a lot of handheld devices similar to the MC9300 that has a built-in cellular feature on this. Now, most of these devices are used within the 4 walls, so meaning that it's being used within your wireless LAN environment. But in the event that you're doing some kind of POD application, proof of delivery, and you need a signature capture, sometimes these go out on delivery trucks. And, for example, Purelator, UPS, FedEx, they'll have these devices or a smaller version of this with a stylus pen like this, and then they'll ask the customer to sign. And that's connected into a cellular-based network outside of the 4 walls, and then when they come back into the environment or within the 4 walls, the 802.11 radio picks up, or the wireless LAN radio picks up and connects to their WMS or application server. So that is it for ordering. There's a lot of other features, such as a boot, a strap, the handle, RFID options, but just to get into the basics of ordering this, very straightforward. When you're looking for used, or if you're looking for a refurbished device, you just want to make sure that it's compatible with your network and it supports your security. So that's the main thing. When you're looking for a used device and you're running a high level encryption like 802.11, if you're running 802.11 1x or with a radio server, you want to make sure that your older guns can support that encryption, because some of the older guns might not be able to support 802.11 with authentication and a radio server. So anyways, if you need any advice, if you want to hop on a free call, I'm available for a 15-minute call. We're based out in Toronto. You can talk to us about any of your barcode scanning technologies. I personally have been doing this for the last 18, 19 years. So I've been doing this before even 802.11, 802.11 2.4 and 5 gig was out. We were working on the old NORAN 900 megahertz systems. So for those of you who have been doing this for a while, if you guys remember Telzon, I used to do a lot of work with Telzon back in the days. But anyways, reach out to me with the links above, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.